Come on up, Jim.
Slalom course to get there. Hello, friends. Let us pray. A new month begins full of hope and promise, fireflies and campfires, sunsets and sprinklers. Half the year has passed, and what a year, full of uncertainty, unexpected sickness, health, worry, unrest, injustice, the inability to listen. Yet here we are, wanting to be present, to do more, to listen more, to feel more deeply the plight of your people. We enter this new month hopeful for your presence, making all things new, renewing spirits and hope, watching dreams take flight. Breathe your spirit into our homes, communities, and world. Breathe your love into tired souls and restless spirits. Breathe your grace into each moment of our days. Help us to do better, work hard, love more fiercely, listen more deeply, and open our hearts to your word. Amen.
Thank you so much for those thoughtful words, Joni. We're going to take a 10-minute break, so enjoy lunch. If you could stand up, that'd be great. I'm already standing. I'll be the immediate past president. Jane Klingman Scott is president-elect. Jenny Sprague, president nominee. Tim Arter, treasurer. I haven't, and Kathy Betts, secretary. You guys are willing to continue in those roles, right? I probably should have asked you before. Mary Ann Gorman, director. Is Mary Ann with us? And Doug Wood. All right, thanks so much. Then, you may be seated. Then I'd like to acknowledge our outgoing board members. And please stand when I call you. Linda Juarez, immediate past president. Is Linda here? See what happens. She's off the board and she's taking a vacation. Orville Crane, I know Orville's here. Thank you, Orville. And Jay Wallace Sr. Anybody seen Jay? All right, well, want to thank them for their service. Orville, I know it's been tough during the, especially this year, and you've been in-state, out-of-state, and your health has been up and down, but you're looking great, and so appreciate your help on the board and look forward to you continuing to be involved. All right, next we're going to install our new president. So I'm going to call Jason Pisecki up. And Jason, I'm going to swear you in. Yes, Jenny. Oh, Jeff Lewis. Jeff, I'm so sorry. Where's Jeff? Jeff. All right, I gotta say, Jenny knows our articles of incorporation by heart, as well as our bylaws. And it is so appropriate, Jenny, for you to catch that. I apologize, Jeff. Of course, Jeff's continuing with us. All right, Jason. Is this on? Hot mic, hot mic. All right, Jason, please repeat after me. I, Jason Pisecki, as president of the Muskegon Rotary Club, will to the best of my ability administer the duties of the office of president in a business-like manner and in accordance with the club's constitution and bylaws.
In a business-like manner and in accordance with our constitution and bylaws.
Right on. Congratulations, Jason. And yes. Well deserved, Jason. And with that, I'm going to hand the mic over. Jason is going to swear in our new officers and our new directors.
Thanks, Mark. I'm going to call up Ginny Sprague, David Ramos, Aslan Scott, and Marty Garinser. Close. Did I get it? All right. Mike says you have to come a little closer. All right. We good? All right, Ginny, you're going to be first. I, Ginny Sprague, do accept and understand the charges of the office to which I am elected and will work with diligence for the betterment of the club. All right, Marty, you are up. I, Marty Garinser, do accept and understand the charges of the office to which I am elected and will work with diligence for the betterment of the club. Thank you, Marty. All right, David. I, David Ramos, do accept and understand the charges of the office to which I am elected and will work with diligence for the betterment of the club. All right, thank you, David. All right, Aslan, my walking friend that I see down at Pier Marquette in the morning sometimes. Yes, I see. All right, I, Aslan Scott, do accept and understand the charges of the office to which I am elected and will work with diligence for the betterment of the club. All right. Meet your new president nominee and board of directors. You can be seated. Thank you. Are you passing the gavel? Oh, then you're going to pass the gavel. Here's the gavel. All right. I got
All right, I'm going to make a few brief remarks as I ride off into the sunset, as it were. First, I want to thank, I've got a lot of people to thank, but certainly this was a challenging year, but it was also a very rewarding year. One of my goals during this year was to bring about better understanding and building relationships with people of color following the George Floyd tragedy. And with the help of Doug Wood and Jeff Lewis and the members of the DE&I committee, in conjunction with program committee, Chris Colley and Tim Arter, I think we brought you some really thought-provoking programs, shedding light on racism, and also allowing us to get to know diverse segments of the community better. Certainly our members practice service above self, responding to the pandemic, but also responding to international crises as well, like the hurricanes in Honduras, for example. The most valuable experience as president is just working with amazing, caring people in the community. All of you community leaders serving others to make this community better and to make the world a better place. So there's a few people I want to thank in no particular order, and I'll apologize ahead of time if I've left anyone out, but Zooming with us, of course, is Kim Borsma, so our club coordinator. So give Kim a round of applause. I've been very fortunate to be the first president where we had paid staff, and you know, I've been a board member and a committee chair for many years, but until you're president, Jason, you really don't know, and I know some of you past presidents do, just how much work is involved. I mean, it's easily a half-time job. So, so I appreciate your work, Kim. I want to thank Treasurer Tim Arter and Secretary Kathy Betts for working on budget and finance. This has been a roller coaster of a year financially for the club, and they've just been on top of it. So thanks so much for your leadership. Again, I want to thank Doug Wood and Jeff Lewis, as well as Chris Colley and Tim Arter, just bringing fantastic programs to us week in and week out. And our multimedia guru, Mike Vogus, who's working hard right in front of us. Talk about a halftime job. I think his might be full-time, especially during this year. But thank you so much, Mike. With your skills, we were able to make virtual meetings interesting, more than interesting, fantastic. So thanks so much, Mike. Want to thank Kathy Moore and Christine Robert for the weekly COVID updates, which we hope to put behind us. But I mean, having to report week in and week out, that's going above and beyond. Yes, thank you. Want to thank Jenny Sprague, Brave Rotarians, Arn Bozart, and the Grants Committee for the food trucks. And then John, is John here? John Noling? Oh, bummer. So John, just for his path and passion for youth leadership. You know, the interactors and Rotaractors really shined, and John's behind much of that. I want to thank Susan Besteman and Lori Wheeler. Lori's here. Is Susan here? Thanks so much. So the RIM, you all know as members, the RIM is fantastic. Always has been. It's never been better, but it was so important during this year when, you know, we had 50 to 70 members coming to club meetings, and a lot of members who couldn't or didn't, you know, preferred not to Zoom, and I certainly respect that. And the information in the RIM was just fantastic. So important for them to stay engaged with the club. I want to thank all of our committee and council chairs. I want to thank the leadership group, that's the past presidents, for their guidance and counsel. If you don't know, it's an informal group, meets once a month, and helps the president during their year to figure things out. It's kind of an added bonus to the board members. And then speaking of the board, I want to thank the board of directors for their leadership and their support of me as president. And then last but not least, I just want to thank all of you as members who stuck with us during such a challenging year. I mean, we lost some, we gained some, and I just can't thank you all enough for your support. You've all been very gracious to me. So thanks so much.
Don't go too far. Well, thank you, Mark. Just a few comments before we officially transition here. This is not a roast, although that was a great Gary Nealon and I idea that we never move forward. So we might have to do that. It's on the list. All right. Mark, since you opened our meetings during your presidency with a quote, I thought it would be fitting to offer a quote as we pass the gavel. And this one is from Eleanor Roosevelt. If life were predictable, it would cease to be life and be without flavor. And I think the last year was anything but predictable. Your leadership helped our club navigate uncharted waters. I'm sure anyone who hasn't sat in the president's seat does not know the amount of work that goes into being president. I can just say in the last 2 weeks, since I think everyone kind of figured out I was taking over, my inbox has just been blowing up with messages, which I am happy to field and attend every committee meeting that I can and take every phone call, because I think that's one of the things that makes our club great, is all the people working hard to make Muskegon Rotary all it can be. Let's see, where am I? Oh, you certainly added flavor, vision, and a steady hand during unprecedented times. Congratulations, Mark. You made it through an entire year of Zoom meetings and got your one in-person meeting. Now you can relax and assume the most coveted role in our club, immediate past president. Congratulations. The major award. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Here we go. Do we have any guests or visiting Rotarians today? Jane has some cards. Jane, if you're going to speak, come on up here, come to the mic so everyone can see you who's not here.
I want to introduce Rob, who has a guest. Was that word coming up?
I think so.
Okay, all right.
Come on up. Come on up, guest. If you know you had a guest, make your way up.
We have to get in front of the microphone. No problem. Zoom. I want to introduce Aaron.
Bob Biomass.
Bob Biomass. I'm still getting used to the last name. I just met Aaron on, what, Tuesday?
Yes.
And he works for Ottawa County Parks and Rec. He's a planner. But he's also, more importantly to me, president of the West Michigan Trails and Greenways Coalition. And we had a great meeting talking about, the kinds of things we're trying to do around here to improve trails for biking and walking and all that. And I'm gonna try and see if he wants to join this prestigious group.
Well, yeah, impromptu speech, I always love those. So yes, the Trails and Greenways Coalition mission is to create a world-class trail system in West Michigan. There's a lot of work that's been done, especially with the help with Fred Meyer. There's a lot of work to do, but there's great things happening, and I see great things since we moved to City of Muskegon 2 years ago. My wife and I have 2 kids, but they're both in college, so they're not really with us there. I just love everything, all the spirit and energy in this community, and I think there's more that can be done to, and I think trails and bikes is could be a big part of that. And so just exciting to be here and participate and help, and look forward to attending these meetings and getting to know more people in the community. Thank you.
Rod, you got to pick up the pace from when you're inviting these people you meet. I mean, 2 days, that's all right. All right. I was going to say, yeah. Okay, birthdays. We have quite a few birthdays today. Susan Besteman is today. Stephanie Cathy is the 2nd. Bob Irwin, the 6th. Mary Beth Ramos on the 6th. Andy Belo is on the 7th. I know you're here. I'm sure you brought your $10. And John Severson. If you are here and present, or if you're Zooming, you can give Kathy your $10, and there's some way to get money for the birthdays otherwise. All right, so I'm going to start with something I'm terrified of doing, starting to sing happy birthday for the group. So, all right, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. All right, happy birthday, everybody. That's pretty good. Haven't heard that in a while. Although I have to say, I kind of miss the days of the piano for those of you that have been here a while. All right, moving on to announcements. Darlene has an announcement, if you want to come up, Darlene. And while she's coming up here, I will start with a few announcements that are already on the list. Rewind meets tonight at 5:15 at Wonderland Distillery. It's a great venue if you want to get out and attend a meeting. And I will pause. I'll let you do your announcement, and then I'm going to jump back in and give an update on Seaway Run.
I am so glad to see all of you. I have missed you all. I am up here to tell you, for those of you who are new, I am the badge manager. That's the person who takes care of all the boxes and ordering badges and et cetera, et cetera. I am not a paid member of staff. I am never introduced, and that's fine, but I just want you to know I am here. But I would like to have the new regime consider, now that we have paid staff, that perhaps my role should be assumed by someone else. It originally was a job of the secretary, and then the secretary's job got so large. So I am going to suggest that be considered, and I have a job description written, so we would have no problem making a transition. Oh, I forgot what I was up here for. What I do want to announce is you will notice the boxes will disappear today. And I do my annual updates with 243 members. When I last did it, it does take some time. I will make my every attempt to have them done by next week. Cannot promise, but I will try. New members, I have your badges. And as soon as Howard gives me the numbers to put on the back, and Kathy gives me the last of our applications, I will do my job.
Thanks, Darlene. All right. All right. I have the privilege right now of giving a Seaway Run report. How many in the room, just to show of hands, participated in Seaway Run, either running or as a volunteer? Well, I know. We had a great Seaway Run, and serving on the steering committee, talk about an up and down event. As of 2 months ago, we had no idea if we were even going to be able to do Seaway Run. Then all of a sudden, Fast and Furious, we had to figure out if we were going to do an in-person event with testing and all kinds of distancing. And then within a couple weeks of that, it was just all back to pre-COVID, and we had to scramble. And even the night before the race, our race director and volunteers, Brian Lambert, were readjusting the route. So if anyone participated in it, thank you for doing it. Thank you, volunteers. Thank you, Kim. I wish you were here so I could look you in the eye and say thank you, because you did a ton of work the week of the event, getting things ready with volunteers. So how did we do? Well, this was our 40th Seaway Run. The Seaway Run is one of our major fundraisers along with Grape Escape. We partner with the Muskegon YMCA, and we split the proceeds with the Y. And this was the 40th Seaway Run. The people loved the course, first of all. Really went down by the lake, Heritage Landing. I asked Brian when we were doing our recap call on Monday, just some of the things that people were saying about our course. He said, well, they had racers from Oklahoma, a whole family came here, Kentucky, Ohio, Detroit, and Chicago. And a woman from Florida said, most beautiful run she's ever done and most helpful volunteers. So that's just a testament to the event. We had 1,350 people sign up, 850 checked in. So if you recall, it was pouring that morning, and we had 850 people do the race, which was an excellent turnout. The revenue is not final, so I'm not going to say the numbers because I don't want to be held to the number, but I can pretty confidently say this will be one of our best years ever with the profits that were generated from Seaway Run, which is remarkable considering everything that we were doing up until the time. So if you volunteered, thank you. If you raced, thank you. And there'll be more to follow in upcoming years on the Seaway Run as we enter into the 41st Seaway Run, and hopefully have just a nice, smooth, normal race with no pandemic and no rain. Okay. Let's see. Just as far as committee reports, we're going to try something a little bit different to continue what we were doing with when we were doing Zooms. And I'd ask that anyone who has a committee report sends it to me by end of business on Tuesday, and I'll send out an email reminder to let you know this as well. That way, people who aren't at the program can get their announcements and reports in. And if you ever feel like you have something that the club should hear coming up, by all means, just give me a shout ahead of time so I can add it to the agenda. So look for an an email announcement about announcements coming up, and just shoot those to me and we'll get them on the list. All right, now we are on to our raffle. Eric Seifert, you have our raffle. And if you want to be seen, you got to come up here. So you can, I don't know how you're going to do this logistically. I'll do a play-by-play. Eric is shaking the bucket. Mary Boyd is drawing a raffle ticket. What is this for? This is for $10. I do not have my tickets, so. Jim, you tell me if I win. All right, John Rupert. All right, John will draw the next number of this. I feel like I'm calling a bingo game. Oh, not Jack. Big win. What was that one for? $20. I think you just saw that you liked Annette and you made that $20. Annette won again, but she does not want the $5. Oh, Kathy Brubaker, Clark. Are you gonna make an announcement? No, not right now. I'll save that. I'll save it. I know. Gotta think about that. All right, Tim is gonna introduce, I'm sure what's gonna be just a scintillating program for everybody here today. Tim?
Well, thank you, President Jason. A few weeks ago, the program committee was sharing its thoughts on a program for today. We knew the gavel was going to be exchanged. And so on behalf of the committee, I called Jason and I said, hey, Jason, we're thinking of trying to include you in the programming. And he said, well, not quite sure, but I said, you know, with all the experience we have of the conversations of recording what we call programs, but we try and make them more in the nature of a conversation. I said, would you be kind enough to have a conversation with Mike Bogus? And he said, sure, let's give it a roll. He says, it could be a lot of fun. And we basically turned it over to Mike and Jason to come up with a list of questions that could give us an idea, a little bit of his background. We have a lot of new members, and we haven't really been together much at all, except for the Zoom meetings. Thought it might be interesting to hear a little bit about his background, that even that some things, I have already seen the recording, by the way, and go over some things that even you don't know about Jason, but also to talk about his some of his plans and his initiatives. So he gracefully agreed to do that. And as I said, I've seen the program. They did an excellent job. And maybe we're going to set a tradition here. What do you think, Mike? All right. So with that cue from the producer here, we're gonna show the tape.
Good afternoon, Rotarians. This is Mike Bogus. I am pleased to be your host today with our new president, Jason Piasecki. Jason, if you'd be kind enough, tell us a little about yourself.
Yeah, well, I've been married to my wife Tracy for 22 years. We live in Norton Shores with our 3 children. Emma and Grace, who are going into their second year at Grand Valley, and my son Aaron, who will be a senior at Mona Shores. I'm a graduate of Mona Shores High School, and went on to Central Michigan University, where I earned degrees in marketing and graphic design. Played a little bit of baseball in junior college, and today I am a partner at Rebel, which is a marketing agency here in Muskegon.
Well, you've been a partner and friend of mine for a long time. You hosted Inside Muskegon, the podcast from 2005 to 2008. How did that lead you to Muskegon Rotary?
Well, it really helped me develop my love of Muskegon, and I learned that our community has so many great stories. And, you know, many of these people that I had interviewed for the Inside Muskegon podcast were Rotarians, folks like Cindy Larson, Dave Alexander, Bill Locksterman, even talked to Larry Wright, our then president, about Rotary, David McIntyre a couple times about Grape Escape, Gary Ostrom, and it was really just a who's of people in Muskegon that were the guests on that show. And so many of them were Rotarians that I had to find out more about the club. And that's really what got me interested in joining back in 2005.
Would you be kind enough to share some of the memories from Muskegon Rotary projects or committees that you have served on?
Yeah, I think, you know, one of the first ones was Grape Escape. When I was doing those interviews with David, he told me about something that I didn't know was happening, that there was this great fundraiser in our community. And so that was one of my first forays into Rotary, as just a general person in the community. And that really got me interested. So I've been a participant and a consumer at Grape Escape every year since then. And we always bring a group of people and try to introduce some new folks to the event. Also involved in Rotary Park, and had chaired the website committee when we had one of those before it went under PR. And one of my favorite memories of Rotary is serving alongside Bill Johansson, and I was this pinch hitter for the Rim when he couldn't put an addition together. So I learned a lot working with Bill on that. And it's just a great way to find out all the ins and outs of our club meeting.
Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the projects you've done in the community in addition to Rotary? Yeah,
well, I served for 7 years on the board of the Muskegon YMCA, and the last year was as the chief volunteer officer, which is the chair of the board. And that was a perfect marriage with my Rotary service, since Rotary and the Y collaborate on Seaway Run, which just happened last weekend. And also along that time with the Y, got involved with Friends of Pendaluan, helping out Camp Pendaluan, and just continuing to keep that great facility going and thriving. I served on the boards of the Muskegon Chamber, the United Way, even did a very brief stint on the MAISD board, as well as the Mercy Health Development Council to help with some of their fundraising. One fun thing, if you're a longstanding Muskegon person, you know about Summer Celebration. And I saw a great post on Facebook yesterday from Tim Lipan saying this would be the start of that 11-day event this time of the year. And I had served on the task force that the community put together to see what would be the future of Summer Celebration at the time, as well as the last thing I just want to mention that's very near and dear to my heart is the Muskegon Channel Cats. I was the chair of the board for the Channel Cats and president for 7 years. And that was something my dad started up in the late 90s, and I carried on when my son was old enough to start playing baseball. So, I love being involved in the community, and, Rotary is one of those things that you kind of get the bug, and it spreads to other things that you can get involved with.
Well, as long as you're talking about the bug, why do you want to serve as the president of Rotary?
Well, the first thing is Rotary, I've always thought of is the board of boards. These are the community leaders and folks that are involved in Rotary they're in the know. So when I was asked first to serve on the board a few years back, I was a little intimidated. I didn't know if I belonged with this group of people. And the one thing about Rotary, and it's from my very first meeting when I got involved, is Rotary is a welcoming group. And the way that I got into Rotary was even a little bit by accident. I found a Rotary directory. This is back in 2005. And I just started going through it. And I came across a name that I recognized, and it was Tim Taylor. And I graduated high school with Tim. He is president of the Muskegon Lumberjacks and Muskegon Fury. He's always been involved in hockey. And I looked it up. This is when the directory didn't have any pictures. And the name, I had an email address, and he was at Huntington Bank. And I'm like, I haven't seen Tim for a while, but I didn't know he was at Huntington Bank. So I shot off an email and said, hey, Tim, how's it going? This is Jason Piasecki, and just interested about learning more about Rotary. And he said, well, thanks for the email, but I am not the Tim Taylor that you are thinking of. I found out that this Tim Taylor had been in banking for 30 years, was getting close to retiring. And he said, well, I'm not going to stop that from inviting you to be my guest at Rotary. So I went as his guest for several weeks, and eventually was invited to join the club. And I really, even though I came in kind of through the side door, it's been something that's been really a big part of my life ever since the last 15, 16 years. And so when I was asked to serve as president, I was honored. I really, when you get that call, it was from Kathy Moore, who was the then president. I was overwhelmed. I did not see it coming. And so I took some time to contemplate it, because I know it's a big job. And anyone who's served in the past, I have great admiration for the past presidents, because it is a full-time job, and we all have full-time jobs as it is. But I thought, if the board thought I was worthy, that I should give it a shot, see if I can put my stamp on our club. And I had no idea at the time that we'd be coming out of a pandemic, but I feel like my skills are suited to help us hopefully navigate as we get back to doing in-person meetings.
Well, interesting point. How do you see Muskegon reopening after the pandemic? And what do you think that'll do with our club?
Yeah, well, when it comes to our club, we built a lot of great momentum under Mark and doing a whole year of Zoom meetings. So I was so happy that last week he got to do an in-person meeting. I thought that was nice to be able to do that, and to have the technology to be able to put that on. So, one of the things is I think it's about options and giving people choices. And as we transition in, just like we did last week, it's having the option to either meet in person or join in via Zoom. We want to preserve the things that we've come to appreciate about the virtual meeting, which is convenience. Sometimes we don't have an hour and a half or 2 hours to come down to the Delta or the Lake House and have a lunch. So if we can just jump on and spend an hour getting our Rotary fix, we want to keep that going. So, I think with your help, Mike and Kim's and all the other folks, that we're going to be able to offer options to people that can be there in person, because there's nothing like the fellowship of sitting at a table of Rotarians and catching up, but also the convenience of doing the Zoom meeting. So that's going to be the way it is. The hybrid is the word, and we're going to do our best to keep that going and make it a really good experience for everybody involved.
Yeah, well, back in my day, bird was the word, What do you do? What do you do when you're not doing Rotary or Revel?
Well, I have two great loves besides my family and community, and that is baseball and craft beer. And that's one thing that Josh Silvis and I were talking about when we did the Red Star event here at Revel. Is baseball is a big part of my life. I was raised on it. That's thanks to my dad, Len, and now my son Aaron is traveling around the country playing baseball, and he's coming into his last year of high school. So that's a big thing that we do. Also, just craft breweries. Tracy and I love to explore new breweries. Our breweries here in town, Unruly, Pigeon Hill, Rake and Fetch, are places that we love to visit. And so when we're not out watching our son's baseball games, we'll usually stop by and grab a beer and visit with folks. And our family vacations tend to revolve around MLB ballparks. So we've been to 17 of them so far. We've got number 18 and 19 on tap this summer in Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. And, our daughters, they come along for the ride. And Emma said to me, about 10 stadiums ago, she's like, I'm not sure I love the games, but at this point, we're going to go the distance and make it to all 30 of these. So that's been a great way for us to see the country in a lot of places that we wouldn't see otherwise. So you can expect to see us out and about taking in some MLB games this summer.
Would you tell us something about yourself that Rotarians might not know about you?
I've got two things, and I'll stick with the baseball theme first. One time in a charity home run derby at Tiger Stadium, I hit 5 home runs. So that was one of the thrills of my life, being on the field at Tiger Stadium, which for those of you that are baseball fans, it's not around anymore. The Tigers moved to Comerica Park about 20 years ago. So be on that field where Ty Cobb and Al Kaline and Kurt Gibson stood and hit some balls into the old upper deck orange seats there at Tiger Stadium was a thrill of a lifetime. So that was one thing. The other is that back when I was 10 years old, I was, doing like a lot of 10-year-olds do. I was, lamenting to my mom, since there was a Mother's Day and a Father's Day, why isn't there a Kids Day? And she said, well, why don't you do something about that? And I said, well, what can I do? I'm just a kid. She said, well, we'll write a letter to President Reagan and we'll see where it goes. And I said, okay. So I wrote this letter, months went by, didn't think anything of it. And eventually I got a letter back from one of his aides saying that, thanks for your interest. Unfortunately, holidays are usually, like this, are typically done on a state level. So, thank you very much. And I thought that was really neat. And I told my grandma, and she mentioned it to the Muskegon Chronicle, and they had a reporter come out that did a story. And lo and behold, Senator Arthur Holt saw that. And he ended up pushing it up the food chain in Muskegon and all the way through the state of Michigan. And Kids Day is a holiday in the state of Michigan. So that was one thing that I did, and it's really fun. We celebrated it for a couple of years, and then that was kind of that. But a couple little bits of trivia.
Well, speaking of that, what are you hoping to accomplish over the next year as president of our club?
Well, the first thing, we already talked about was transitioning back to in-person and hybrid meetings. And I think that's important to keep the continuity and momentum that we've built over the last year. The next is to grow our membership back to our pre-COVID levels, and a testament to our club that we are still at 224 members, which makes us one of the biggest clubs in the state of Michigan. And so that gives us, a bit of clout, and also, people look to us for our leadership, other clubs. So we want to get our membership back up to 245 members. That's where it was before COVID. And that's going to take a team effort between membership and retention and recruitment. And that's one thing our club is great at. So we'll be talking more about that. The next thing is really to kick off this Peace Builder initiative. And you'll be hearing more about this over the upcoming months. This is something that the DE&I committee brought in, and I think it's so important at this time to really, celebrate the accomplishments of citizens and what we can all do together. And then the last is to highlight our vocational avenue of service. Rotary has 5 avenues of service: club service, community, international, and youth. And that 5th is vocational. And that's what Rotary was started as over 100 years ago. And what that means is talking about and sharing stories about all our professions and getting to know the work that we do out in the community and how that can help us, serve Rotary better. So you'll see some tweaks in our weekly agenda where we'll be talking to members and having them share what they do during their day jobs.
Well, Jason, it has been a privilege to be a friend of yours and a partner for all of these years. I'm pleased to welcome you as our new president, and thank you very much for taking the time to share with us the thoughts you have today. And now we hand it back to you, Mr. President.
Kim, can we do anything about this?
Along in our program, just to conclude, again, congratulations to Mark, now our immediate past president, our president-elect, Jane Klingman Scott, president nominee, Jenny Sprague, outgoing board members, Linda Juarez, Orville Crane, Jay Wallace Sr., new board members, Aslin Scott, Marty Garinser, and David Ramos. And please, everyone, stick around after we've got some cake for Mark. You have to get some cake and hang around for a little bit more fellowship before we go. Okay, also, thank you to our guest, Aaron. Yes, one guest, I got it right, is my son's name. So there were no blue cards. I didn't get a card. All right, if everyone could please rise, we're going to do the 4-way test and we'll conclude. Of the things we think, say, and do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? All right, thank you. Have a great week, everyone.